Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lottie. For those of you who don't know me, I do crochet videos, market day vlogs, and lifestyle vlogs, and a bunch of other stuff. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. If you're not new here, welcome back. Don't forget to hit the button that looks like this. Today's video is going to be different. I'm going to be sitting and I'm going to be talking to y'all. I haven't done a video like this in a minute since like podcast, but my podcasts have moved over to my Patreon now, so if you want to check them out, we have almost, I think, 12 episodes now, or 11 episodes. So go check it out. So this is a highly recommended video that you guys have been asking me for weeks, because your girl's done market day videos non-stop. So I've had a good amount of experience with market days and what you need. And if you click this video, you're probably sitting here contemplating whether you want to do a market day or do a market, might I say. You're contemplating whether you want to do a market, what you need to do for a market. I know you're probably nervous about the market and you fell upon my video, and thank you so much for being here, and I'm gonna help you. Your girl has been doing markets for almost 2 years. I'm so bad at time. So I've had my good amount of markets in the mornings, markets at night. So sit back, get out a little notepad if you need it. I'm giving this all to you because I wish I would have had someone tell me these things when I first started looking into markets. I kind of had to learn everything on my own. Sit back, don't forget to subscribe, and let's get into this video. So I'm going to try to keep this very structured. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I hope I do not ramble. I have my little notes and I've been writing down questions of what people have been asking me. So I literally wrote down, I put everything you might need to know, and I don't want to say everything you need to know because I'm sure there's going to be questions. So if you do have them, leave them in the description, not in the description, leave them in the comments down below so I can make sure that I answer those for you as soon as I can. So this might be almost everything you need to know. So the first question I get asked all of the time: where do you find your markets? How do you find markets? So how I found my market, I stumbled across it. But with talking to other women and other small business owners on how they found their markets, it's one, Facebook. Facebook is going to be your friend. There's a lot of Facebook groups. Depending on your location, look up vendors in space, like vendors in this area. For me, I looked up Vegas markets, Vegas vendors, and you'll find groups, and you'll kind of deep dive into Facebook, and that's where you can find markets that way. How I found my markets was I started going around local shops and kind of seeing anything that I might find. I found it here. If you're here in Vegas, I found my first, I stumbled across my first market at the Container Park here in Vegas on the what's it called, Ferguson Road, the Ferg. And they had a market, so I just started asking questions. I'm like, oh, how'd you hear about this? And just like kind of making small talk. And they're like, oh, it's for small businesses. You find who the organizer is, because do not be afraid to ask questions, because organizers are always looking for vendors. What do vendors love? Organizers. What do organizers love? Vendors, because they're able to attract more people with different items, and they love supporting small businesses. So find local shops near you, ask around. You can also even ask small businesses that you know, like the shop is a local small business owned. You can also ask them if they ever do pop-ups in their shop, and ask them if they have a fee, or if you could set up in their shop for a day. A lot of the people here in Vegas do that, so I don't know if they'll do that around you, but it's never gonna hurt you to try. The worst thing they can say is no, and if you do it, you will get rid of that what if that you have in your head, like, what if I can do this, or what if I can do that, you know? So there's that. Moving on to the second question I get: fees. What I can tell you about fees is that it's going to vary. So I'll tell you why certain markets cost more versus why some are cheaper. So for instance, the lowest I have paid for a table here in Vegas was $50. The most I've paid for a table, or a booth, should I say, here in Vegas has been $175. And you can hear this from a bunch of other women. I've heard way bigger numbers. And mind you, mine are all 1-day markets. I have not done a 2-day, 3-day market yet. So I don't really know much about those, but I've heard people pay up to $600 for a spot for like a 3-day thing at a convention. So when you are looking at your markets, you're going to find that some markets are more expensive than others. And you're like, why is this market more expensive? Well, you have to take in a lot of things into consideration. Location. So when you find a market that is a bigger market and they know the organizers have been there for a little while, it's an established market, and they know they get a good amount of vendors and they have a good foot traffic, best believe that they're going to be charging you what they believe the booth is worth. And organizers, what I have found, thankfully, is that they're pretty much right. They know that this is a good spot. My location, for instance, where I go to, where you guys see most of my market days where I make my good money, I'm paying that amount for my booth, for my 10 by 10 space, because one, the organizers are doing everything they can to organize and advertise that market. They're advertising leading up to the market. They have great word of mouth, putting the market out there, making sure that everyone and anyone who can come and advertise that. And they're able to pay for the location itself, and it's divided into, all these, vendors. So when I first started and I had my $50 market, I had just a little table, a little spot. It was a smaller place, not as much foot traffic, and it was like, I think like an impromptu event. So I wish I would have got that one on camera. Just so you know, that's kind of where you're going to look at fees wise. This leads me into the next thing. I wish I would have known this. This puts me into my next one, how to know whether a market is good or not. So it's very, very important for you to understand that not all markets are going to be winners, but you can do your best to avoid bad markets. Bad markets is what I mean by organizers who, one, are just doing it for the money, because I've had a couple of those. Two, organizers who aren't advertising their event and they're just kind of charging you a booth fee and saying like, hey, come here, set up, and that's it. And there's no foot traffic. There's no organizing to it. It's horrible. I will tell you, I had one market where there was no logistics map. There was no organizing. There was people, I think we had to it was a night market. We had to load in at a certain time. And there was people, they told us we could load in at, I believe, 2 p.m. There was people since 9 a.m. hoarding spots. Someone literally parked like this and took over, a van, and took 3 spots because they were holding it for other people. Come on. Right. So there's also, I've had, sadly, some girls who I love, my Patreoners, who also do small business, who have small businesses, and they have their crochet booths, and they've been to markets where the organizers just charge them a fee, and you notice there was no advertising done, there was no logistics map, there was no rhyme or reason to what they were doing. You could tell they just wanted to get that booth fee, and you were there and you were set up, and they're like, well, good luck. You can avoid this. Be very, very of where you decide. What I like to do to try to see if I like the place where I'm going to, invest my money and in this location, I will wait if I know that this market is a market that is a regular market, and I'll go see it myself just like a customer, and I'll go and I'll purchase from small businesses. But I also like to see and basically scout out the area. I like to see the foot traffic, mind you, weather, traffic, all of those things take into account for a market day. But needless to say, I go and I check to see if, one, I want to see how the organizers decorated. Did they decorate? I want to see how many vendors are there. Are there multiple vendors? Are there vendors that, one, I usually see at other markets? Because if I see vendors that I've seen at other markets, I'm like, oh, well, I see them at this market and they know that market's good. So then subconsciously I'm like, okay, they must trust this market. And then I've been pretty good at talking to all my small business friends, and I let them know, I'm like, oh, do you like this market? Do you love this location? And most small business people are not going to mind you asking that. Or you could ask them oh, do you like this location? How's your day going? Things like that. I always for me, I always share that type of stuff. So that's my 2 cents on that. So I told you how to avoid a bad market. I told you how to find a market. And now I'm going to tell you what a market day is going to look like if your market organizers are like mine. I'm going to go through and walk you through what a market day has been for me. So before you even get into a market, you have to apply. Well, applying sounds like a crazy word. It sounds very like scary, but it's not. So most markets, for instance, mine have all been on Instagram, and they have a little link in their Instagram bio, so you can go check. If you're in, I think it's Idaho, Utah, Nevada, California, Arizona, go to the Makers Hive Market link and check if they are a really good organizing group that I love. And if I move back to Arizona, I'm going to continue to go to their markets because I love them as organizers. They have a link in the description box in their Instagram. I'm going to leave it in the description box below. Check to see if their locations are near you and go try out one of their markets. I promise you, you're going to love them. They are the sweetest group of women. Love them. They're also Mexican like me or Hispanic like me, and I love them. So, you're going to apply, and usually the applying process, it's fairly easy. You're going to have your name, you're going to have your Instagram, you're going to have, if you have a website, branding, your logo, you're going to do a brief description of what you're selling, whether it's handmade or if it's not handmade. Some markets require you to be handmade, so make sure you look at that. Also, they're going to ask you whether you have your licensing. Some places, I get this question a lot, do I need licensing? When I first started doing markets, I didn't have licensing, so I had to pay an extra fee, probably like $10 to $15. I think the most was $20 extra because I didn't have my licensing, so that they could cover that insurance. So don't be afraid to check the applications, and just because you don't have licensing, don't use that as an excuse, and check it out because you might be able to. I was able to start off, I didn't have licensing at the beginning, but I saw that I just had to pay an extra fee. So instead of paying $50, I was paying $65. Instead of $60, I was paying $75. Obviously that adds up, but it's okay. So there's that. So you're going to apply. All right, we're moving on. You either get approved or you get waitlisted. Some of these markets are really sought out after markets, right? So you're going to have to be aware that you might, this wig is getting in my mouth. You're gonna have to be aware that you might be waitlisted and basically like rejected from a couple markets. It's happened to the best of us. For the market that I love here, I got rejected on the first application that I had. But guess what? I kept knocking on that door and I applied next time, and then I got approved for the next one. So it's okay. Don't let that be discouraging because now I love that market and now they know me, and then they allow you to, you kind of get to know the organizers and you're a little more open to getting approved, and it's easier for them to approve you, right? So let's say you get approved. It's market days coming up. The organizers are going to start emailing you things for you to post on your social media platforms, saying like, hey, here's the flyer, put it up on your Instagram, or give it to people, send it to people, invite 5 friends, something like that. And then when it leads up, if you're at a good market, in my opinion, the great markets have logistic maps. By logistic map, I mean they're going to send you a map probably either 2 days or a day before the market. They're going to email it to you, and they're going to give you a number, and it's going to have your business name, and then they're going to show you where you are that day so that when you get there, you know where you're going to be. Or for instance, I have a market that will tell you, hey, this is your load-in time, but they won't email me the map. They'll be like, this is your load-in time, this is your check-in time, come check in, we're going to take you to your spot, show you your spot, it's going to have a number, and then you know when to load in. I love markets like that because guess what? You're going to avoid the markets like the one I went to that was a mess, and you had people hoarding spots for people. And it's going to beat the headache, and then you kind of get to see where you are, and you kind of avoid being in like those really sticky spots because I've been in some spots where it's like, oh my God, I'm in the back. Like I'm behind a trash can. Like I've been there, done that, right? So it's important for you then, you're gonna get checked in. You're gonna be taken to your spot, or you're gonna get an email sent the day before and you're gonna be shown where your spot is. That way when you go the next morning or the next couple of days when your market happens, they're gonna send you, okay, this is load-in time. This is the time that you need to be done and set up for. And then this is, you know, the time that we're gonna start and we're gonna open. And that's when market day opens. Here is my tip. Obviously, don't start setting up before your market, like, organizers tell you, because, you know, it just sucks for them. They have a lot going on. Don't be that person. But I will say get there like as soon as they tell you, because what I have found is the sooner I set up, the sooner I make sales. The sooner you set up, the sooner people can see all your stuff together. Whenever you see me at my markets, I'm set up a lot of times like within, I mean, obviously my husband's amazing and he helps me, right? So I try to get there as early as I can. As soon as I'm able to load in, I'm loading in, guys. Like as soon as I have that go and I can do it, I'm there, I'm setting up. Because once you're set up, yes, technically say you have an 11 a.m. open. If you're ready by 10:30 and there's people at your booth at 10:30, your organizers are not gonna care. That's just me. I mean, that's just the experiences I have had here in Vegas. My little tip that I give to you. Things you're gonna need for your market. Now we have our load in, we have our application process done. What are you gonna need for a market? So this really depends. For me, I'm gonna tell you what I started with. I didn't have a tent. I just had one booth. I had some mismatched white tablecloths, some cubbies, like metal rack cubbies, and like a basket from the Dollar Tree. And that's where I started. And honestly, when you're first starting, I think it's something that we have to know. You're going to grow. As you grow, you're going to be able to invest back in your business, and you're going to be able to slowly move up and get the stand and the booth that you want it to look like. So for instance, to me, I wanted my booth to look so much different than what it did at the beginning, but it took me a long time to get where I am now for where my booth looks. But I'm going to tell you everything and where everything I have now that I have for my market that you can obviously go and look for, but you don't necessarily need. Obviously everyone's niche is different, everyone's selling different things, but I'm assuming if you guys press this, most of you are crocheters or small business owners. So I have a little list that I have that I'm gonna pop up, and most of these things are going to be in my Amazon storefront. But if you don't want to go through the Amazon storefront, use Google, look it up. Walmart's great, Target's great, and I'm going to go through that before I start rambling, right? So on my first one will be a tent. So I always go for booths that are 10 by 10s. So I usually get my tent, and I need it because it's usually sunny outside and your girl's not trying to get burnt. And most markets, at least the ones that I've had to deal with in my situation, please don't come at me in the comments if yours aren't like this. I'm just saying this is my experience. Require you to have a tent. And please, 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 most of them require you to have a white top just because they want everyone in unison. And like you'll have those one or two people who don't have like a white tent, and I get it. Sometimes like you already have a blue tent and you're like, well, I don't want to have to go buy another one. Most markets are going to require you to have a white tent, and in my opinion, I'm like, don't be that person, you know, like that like fucks up the aesthetic, you know what I mean? Sorry, I was doing so good not cussing. I can't, I get excited. I put a tent in my Amazon storefront that is easy to pop up and pop down. Thankfully, mine's pretty easy, so I put that in my Amazon storefront. So a white tent is good. Also, some aren't going to allow you to have tents. Like the place that I usually go to is actually taking away tents. So, but they're still going to give me a 10 by 10 space, but you have to have an umbrella. With an umbrella, if you are mainly doing like, if you don't want to do the full booth experience, you have an option at these markets. They either make you book a booth or they make you book a table. And a table is usually cheaper, and you have to have a umbrella for your table. Now, some of the markets that I've been to will either supply an umbrella, or they'll supply an umbrella with a rental fee of like $25, or a tent with a rental fee. But after all, if you're going to be doing this in a market, something that you want to do as a career or as a side hustle, I highly recommend you invest in yourself because it's going to be worth it at the end of the day. So when I first started, had to get a tent. I had to get an umbrella. With your umbrella, you have to get a like the umbrella like platform. And you have to get the umbrella. Well, the umbrella comes with the pole, right? And then with your tent, you have to get tent weights. I got my tent weights off of Amazon. They each fit 25 pounds of sand in them. So I got the covers from Amazon, but the sand from Home Depot, and I just filled them in there. Mine have Velcro straps. I haven't had any issues with sand pouring out in the back of my truck. These have been my holy grail. They Velcro themselves to the edges of my tent, and they are gorgeous and beautiful, and I love them. And you are required to have tent weights because you never know if the day of your market it's going to be windy, and the last thing you want is your tent to be flying off or breaking in something that you invested in. And market organizers will require you to have tent weights. Tables. After you have your tent set up, you're going to need to set up your tables. Your tables, for instance, I have in a 10 by 10 space, this is what I fit: 2 6-foot tables and 1 4-foot table. And on those tables, which I got them from Home Depot, and they have tables for sale that are usually around, like, if you get on a good day, they can be $50 or $100 depending. And then if you guys have seen my market day setup, I'm sure you guys have seen it if you've been here. Here's a nice little quick picture. Those pink fitted covers, I started off with black ones. You can get them off Amazon, and they have tons of different colors that are going to fit your aesthetic, whatever you want. I like them because they have like a little pocket on the corners of them, and that's why it gives it that fitted look. After that, and I think they range from like $5 to like $13 depending if you have Amazon Prime. I have Amazon Prime, so they come to me like super quick. After that, branding. So I have a banner that goes in front of my 6-foot table so people can see what my small business name is. You guys, this is so important, and some markets will require you to have some sort of branding. I got my banner from Etsy. If you want to know where I got it from, they do like overnight shipping. I paid $40 for a 4x2, and it's so good. It has like little garment holes, and I put it up with just safety pins on the fitted cover sheet, and it looks great. So let me know in the comments down below if you want to link to that Etsy. It's a small business, so let's keep supporting the small business. You know what I'm saying? If you want to make more space, in my 10 by 10 space, I'm also able to fit 2 metal shelves that I use for my plushies as well, that I got off of Amazon, that are super easy to take up and take down. Like, they are foldable, they fit. You're gonna want to find things that are easily able to be taken apart and put back together, because load in and load out is kind of time consuming. I've seen a lot of people, to each their own. If you want to take full on furniture, do your thing. If you got the muscles for that, Oscar and I try to find things that are as easy as possible to kind of put together and take apart. That's why I chose the ones that I got from Amazon. They're like, I don't know if you guys have seen them. They're the black shelves. They are so easy. If you go look at one of my market day videos, literally it's just a latch, opens up, lock it, ready to go. Put the brakes on those wheels. They're rolling. Chai's moving. Go ahead, baby. Where are you gonna go? She's gonna lay on top of me. Okay. So this leads me to what I have on the top of my tables that you will probably need, and I recommend. What you're gonna need for markets, you want to fit as much stuff onto your market display, but you don't want it to look too like conjubbled. Is that a word? I'm thinking of the Grinch. Conjubbled, or too crazy, because then it's going to kind of take away from your things, and you want to make sure that, one, you fit a bunch of things but in an aesthetic and nice way that people are going to be able to, see the difference in your table. So that's where I got the idea to have crates. So I switched over from like those like metal organizers that I didn't love how they looked. I switched over to crates that I get from a craft store. If you wait, you can get them for sale, on sale for like $8 to $10. By craft stores, I mean Joann's, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, and they'll have sales that you can use and you can get them. And I like them because, one, you can set them and you can stack them up on each other. They look really nice. And for those of you who make plushies with 2 legs, they're not going to stand on their own. So you can put them and then they're going to stand and people can see them better. And then second, you can put stuff like your cash register. You can put stuff like your, yes sir? Got rudely interrupted by my husband. So as I was saying, you can use these craft boxes for anything, like for your display, to hold things. I think they're really good. It's my opinion. Let me know what you think. So there's that. And then you're gonna wanna have different levels to your stand. This is personal preference. I've seen a lot of people do it different, but in my cases, I have found that it's been easier for me to have different levels. Chai, you're gonna come up here? This is my life right now. I wish you guys could see. Chai's over here. I got Tinky over here, like telling me to give her love. And I'm trying to record. Can you guys let me work, please? If you could. Minnie? Gold star, Bubba's. Gold star for being the best girl right here. You're just so pretty. Anyways, so this brings me to the next item that you might want and that you might need is shelving. So you can find shelving anywhere. A lot of people sell it on Etsy. For instance, my husband sells them on Etsy now. His shop just opened. If you want to purchase, they're the same ones you see on my market days. They are really good because they are in, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 pieces, and they come apart. They all lay flat, super easy to take on the go. We have, I believe, 4 sets of them, and I use them for every market. They make my life so much easier, and they aesthetically just look good, and they hold all my plushies really, really well. Next, I'm gonna talk about what you need for your small business. Depending on what you sell, you're gonna want bags. You're gonna want to invest in some bags that you can brand. That way when people are leaving, they're able to remember where they got it from, because I kid you not, I can't tell you how many times I've purchased from a small business and something they give me doesn't have any of their branding, and I'm like, oh, I want to purchase from them again, and I can't. So that's what leads me. I usually take brown paper bags. I get them off Amazon. They'll be on my Amazon storefront, and I will put my plushies in there. I stamp them up with my logo so that people can remember me, and then when they're walking around the market, the people can see like, oh, there's multiple people with this bag and with that brand. Let me go look for them. And it has happened. Trust me, it will happen. Look at my little girl wants attention. Stickers with branding. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I can't tell you how much me investing in some stickers has helped me. I do freebies every time someone purchases for me. Before it was my old logo. It's my new logo now with like my dragon. Well, it's not my new logo now. It's my I do my new logo stickers in my online shop. But I do like stickers that I got through one of my really good friends, RENNS, Super Bloom Co. I'll leave her in the description box below if you're looking for branded stickers that you can give out as freebies. I can't tell you how many people have returned to me as return customers just because of that small little gesture that I did. It's investing. I know sometimes you're gonna be like, dang, like I don't know if I can afford that. I promise you, if you invest in your business and you believe in yourself, it's gonna go, you're gonna do wonders. Those are all the things that you will need for a market. Now I'm gonna go into something that people have asked me. What payments do I take, and how, like, where do you go from there, right? Like, how am I gonna take people's money for my stuff? So I'm gonna tell you the things I don't use because I don't trust them. I don't be using Cash App. I don't trust that shit. I'm sorry, I just don't. PayPal. I don't trust PayPal because I had someone recently on my Patreon actually tell me about experience. Someone purchased something really big from her, or something really prized and like close to her that she made, and then that person did a chargeback. People suck, dude. People suck. So I don't do PayPal. I don't do Cash App. I don't recommend. That's my personal tip to you. For those of you who do use Cash App and use PayPal and it has been great for you, good for you. Okay, like I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying that's my personal opinion. These are the forms of payment that I take. I take Apple Pay, I take Venmo, I take Zelle, and I also take cash. Okay, the reason why I take Venmo, because I'm able to make a business account with Venmo, so that's how I've done it. And Venmo, if you sign up and you make a small business account, they will send you like a bunch of QR codes with your business. They'll send you like a whole thing, like a lanyard. Super cool. They love small businesses. Highly recommend. I accept Apple Pay. By saying Apple Pay, that means like tapping, but I use that through Square. So this is the big one. Square, I highly recommend, because when you sign up with Square, and if you don't know what Square is, it's just a payment system that you can download. A lot of small vendors use it. I use it all the time. If you hear it at the end of my market days, it's usually what has the biggest number of income for me. So because anyone with a credit card, debit card, they can slide their card, tap their phone. It is amazing. If you sign up with Square as a small business, or you can purchase a small Square reader on Amazon. I think they're like 10 to 13 bucks. If you purchase from there, if you sign up first, you can sign. I'm talking in circles. 1 second. You can sign up with Square, and they can send you one for free, and you can use that. That's what I did. Or you can purchase it off Amazon for 10 to 13 bucks. If you lose it, here's my thing too. Even if you don't have that little Square reader, if you download Square and you sign up, you put all together your account like for direct deposit inside of that app. It's very user friendly, I promise. Leave in the comments down below if you want me to do a video of me using Squares. If you guys want something like that, I can try to do that for you. You don't need the Square reader, right? You just need the Square app. The Square reader makes it a lot easier for you to swipe cards, but don't think that you can't take payments if you don't have the Square reader. You can put tap to pay, and people can tap their phones, people can tap their cards, and you can actually do it that way. Or in the Square app, there's a place where you can put the actual like card reader. One of my good friends who owns Luna y Flora, which is like the crochet bag vendor that I know here, her name is Hilda. She is so beautiful, so sweet. Her daughters are gorgeous. She actually was inputting them manually. I had an extra card reader from my first market that I ever did that someone gave to me that I then gave to her because I thought it'd be easier for her to swipe cards rather than her have to manually input it. But you can manually input them and not have to worry about it. So there's that for you. So then also, I think I said I use Venmo because people can scan my QR code. I have a acrylic sign that you can use, and then people just scan it, and then make sure to add the tax in Venmo, because Venmo, obviously for tax reasons, they're going to take away, so make sure you're charging that tax wherever you're located is and go by your tax or whatever it is. Same thing on Square. Make sure you're adding your taxes. I take cash for obvious reasons. And let me see what else. Yeah, a lot of people are paying in tap nowadays, so please use Square. I'm not sponsored. They need to be sponsoring me for how much I talk about them, but I think that for a small business, they have been so helpful. Can I let you go now? You smell like coconut oil, and I don't know if I like it. Before I forget, for your booth size, do not forget signs. I don't know how long I have to say this or how many times I have to say this. Signs are so incredibly important. How I first started, you don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to do anything fancy. Go to the Dollar Tree, get you some signs, get you some frames, whatever's easier for you. How I did it was I got some chalkboards, wrote the prices by hand, and that's how I started. And now what I did is I still use the Dollar Tree chalkboards, but now I have a Cricut. So like I used Cricut, put vinyl just so that it looks a little better. And now I've also moved over. I used Canva and Kittle to design different ones with little cute pictures of the animals to have the number with them, with the cost of them. So for instance, my leggy froggies, I have those. Let me actually go get those signs so I can show you. Okay, I'm back. So for instance, this is what one looks like. This is from the Dollar Tree. I designed it on Kittle. Use a 4x6 depending on what frame you buy. Boom, print it out, done. $1 and some paper. You do not have to spend a lot of money for your shop, your display to look nice, guys. People are gonna know that you care, right? So these are also ones that I've purchased from Etsy that you don't need to do, but I do just because it makes my life a little easier. I have these acrylic signs that I got off Etsy. If you want to know where the link is, let me know in the comments and I can leave it down there for you. But I have one that says Let's Get Social and it has my Instagram. I have one that check out our online shop. And I've dropped this a couple of times, so it did chip a little bit, so I will let you know that you can chip if you drop it. Refinedvibes.com. So people who not necessarily want to purchase at the time, they're being serious. So then I have Scan to Pay for my Venmo in particular, just because that's easier than having to take out my phone every single time for them to have to scan my phone, or you can just do it on your phone. It's just what I find easier. So signs matter because people aren't going to want to ask you. Some people are very shy. I mean, I'm sure you know, like, you don't want to go to someone's booth and then them be like, that's $20, or like follow you around. So it's nice to have nice, bold numbers so that from far away people can be like, okay, that's that. Okay, let me go look. Okay, I'm going to make this decision and I'm going to take it. I've had people who just show up, they grab something, and then they're like this. They're like, that's it. And then you have other people who just like want to be there like for 40 minutes, which is totally fine too, and decide what they want and talk and have a good time. So that is something that I highly, highly recommend. Signs. Okay? Get asked inventory. How much inventory should you take to a market? Now this is gonna depend. Okay, so at the beginning I had no idea how much to take to my market. I believe for my first market I took 72 items and it ended up being like $1,100 worth of inventory. Now that I've been doing a lot of markets, I go based off of cost of inventory rather than items. So obviously I know best sellers that I go through, right? But I go by how much. Now I feel comfortable taking at least $3,000 to $5,000 worth of inventory to markets, because I usually only do one market a month and they're usually really big markets, and me being a handmade artist, I can only do so much with my hands, and I don't like to go to markets not prepared and not have enough items, because then I'm just going to be playing catch up for a really long time. So from me to you, I usually take $3,000 to $5,000 worth of stuff because I'm going to big places. But when I would go to smaller spots, having $1,100 worth of stuff goes a long way, and making sure you have items that are between probably, like, I'm not saying lower your prices. Obviously price your stuff for what it's worth, but profit wise, I try to make sure I have a lot of items that are under $40, because at markets you get a fair amount of people who aren't gonna want to spend more than $20. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's why I have my Octos, my mom's tiny turtles. We have a lot of items that are, you know, super easy to make, super profitable at like $5 to $8, because it's easier for us to make and it doesn't take as much time, and those are our best sellers. Okay guys, that brings us to the end of the video. I hope you guys appreciated everything that I said here. If you have any other questions that I didn't necessarily get to, please leave them in the comments and I can do another video getting to those questions if I missed any, or I can try to get back to you them in the comments. Before I close out this video, I want to show you guys this shirt. I know you guys have been looking at it. It's so cute. This was made by Stitched by Danielle. Stitches by Danielle. Danielle's my good friend that I talked about in my last video, in my wearable video, who is my inspo for wearables, and she made this. And I was supposed to wear this in Mexico. No, I'm wearing this right now. It is so cute. I feel so pretty. This bandana is from Angie. They made this I purchased a few of them. I have like, I think 4 of them from them, and I absolutely love them. I'm wearing a TikTok $20 wig, and your girl's not trying to get clocked, so she has to have something to cover, and what better to cover than with the amazing bandanas that Angie made me. And they will be in the description box below, so you guys should go check them out. They're part of the crochet community, and we are building a family around here. Before I close out this video, guys, if you want to join some really cool Zooms, in the crochet community and meet a bunch of girls from all over the country and even outside of the country, even in South Africa where my favorite girl Fatima is, go check out my Patreon. It's linked in the description box below. There's 3 tiers. I know I don't talk a lot about it here on my main channel videos, but I'm trying to really create a community over there. We get on Zooms every Monday, and now the girls are starting to get together on Fridays and Thursdays, and I pop in and I try to do my best. We have a really cool Discord. There's 3 tiers. You have to be a part of the 3rd tier to get on those Zooms. But if you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. I promise you, you're not gonna regret joining. I do crochet tutorials over there, and Oscar and I do weekly pods. So there's a bunch of pod and exclusive content you can catch up on right now. Even some really good chisme, let me tell you. So don't forget to subscribe. Hit the button that looks like this. Minnie, do you have anything else to say to the people, mamas? You sweet girl got a haircut today. Do you have anything to say, Mosa? Bye!